I'm David Grasso, and welcome back to another Millennial Minute. Today's really tough question. Should we be traveling right now? I have two guests here to talk about that. You already heard from them, Ann Miller and Max Burns. How you both doing today?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Ann, you say travel. There's a lot of jobs on the line here. I'm in Orlando, Florida. Of course, it's no secret that we live off of tourism. Our unemployment is really, really high. Why do you feel like it's more important than ever to support all of these jobs that are on the line right now?
I want to say travel with caution. There are safety measures in place, mask wearing, social distancing, and these things are really important in order to travel safely without taking on excess risk. But Max, as you know, risk is part of life. There's risk in going outside, driving cars, getting on planes. And similarly, traveling has always had risk and now it has a different kind of risk. But as we do with other situations and in previous flu, seasons, we do the best we can to mitigate that risk. And right now, it's really kind of ethically and morally important, I think, for us to support the service sector and small businesses of our economy. Like you said, there's a lot of people that are facing housing insecurity, job insecurity, which is just going to give us another another medical crisis and public health crisis further down the line. And so, yeah, I think it's really important for us to try, because the government is clearly, not making any moves to come to the aid of these people or to the Americans in general. So it's kind of up to us to help each other out, and traveling could be a really good way to do that.
So, Max, you're on the no train, but let's say someone like me, right? I already had COVID, right? And I have the antibodies. Doesn't that mean I can travel safely?
Well, for one, scientists are not certain that that grants you a permanent immunity. And we've already seen cases of reinfection that come with longer term illnesses attached to that. And I agree with Ann. I think people need paycheck support and economic support. The way we do that is by passing a stimulus through Congress, not by telling them to get on airplanes and get on buses and take COVID with them everywhere. There is, of course, risk in any kind of travel, but we're talking about travel during healthy times and travel during a global pandemic that has killed over 250,000 Americans and is likely to kill another 250,000 before this vaccine is widely distributed. It's to the point where even red state governors are saying, please stay away. Our infrastructure cannot handle the number of people being hospitalized. To continue going on about life as if everything is normal is an invitation for disaster.
Well, here in Florida, which of course is infamous for, trying to reach herd immunity and not really containing the virus, Disney has done a really, really good job of separating everyone. And there is a safe way to go to Disney, and a lot of families are enjoying it right now. Anne, don't you feel like a lot of activities are really changed because of the virus, and that there is a safe way to do things? Like, I know when I go to certain places, I was at a hotel this weekend, I'm not allowed near anyone. I have to wear a mask. I'm not allowed to be in the same elevator as anyone. There are no parties. There is no, in the pool area, they were, policing me. I feel like travel is not what it used to be. And this is in Florida, never mind a state that, has a lot of restrictions.
And I do want to clarify, I'm not saying, everybody go out there and travel. I'm saying it's on everybody to decide kind of where that risk falls for them. If I know I'm immunocompromised, then I'm not going to travel. But for somebody who is facing eviction, if they don't go to work, I don't believe, the state or the government can really say you're not allowed to work, and I'm not allowed to go to their business because, say, I have a stay-at-home order, and support that person so that they can put the food on the table for their family. And Max does make a really good point, and that, people throw around this 99% survival rate, which means about 32 million Americans could die, but there's about the same number of Americans that are at risk for being on the street. Right now, we know that 1 in 6 Americans were behind on rent in September, and this comes out to about 34 million Americans who, again, if we don't find a way, which, Max, I'm in agreement, there should be some stimulus package, but a lot of these people can't wait. They need to work. And I also do believe, as you were saying, that traveling can be done safely. I'm sorry, could you remind the question one more time?
No, you answered the question. It's all good. So Max, yeah, that is one of the things is that, I understand what you're saying. I think we can all agree that Americans need help and they need another round of stimulus. And I think that's something that's bipartisan and popular among all Americans. But is that good for your mental health, not leaving your house? So like, congratulations, you're physically well, but now you're mentally ill?
No, and that's one of the challenges. Not only are we finding that about 2/3 of people who develop severe COVID symptoms end up with a mental illness like depression or anxiety, but also people who are completely healthy, who have stayed in their homes like me in New York for most of 2020, are getting a little bit fuzzy in the head and a little bit stressed out by this. And there are, I think, safe ways to do this on an individual level. But when you're talking holiday travel, when you're talking about national transportation infrastructure, we simply didn't make the investments early on in this pandemic when they were necessary to make that a safe thing to do. And I mean, I work with a great group called Extend PUA that represents millions of people who are out of work, who would love to go back to work, except that it's either not physically safe or there are government restrictions. What they need is pandemic support from the government. They don't need to be told to take their life into their hands and risk going to an unsafe workplace to make their money. This is the government's problem right now. This is a crisis that government inaction created, and it's not fair or sane to ask regular people to make those sacrifices when the government is completely unwilling to step in for them.
So wait, Max, and I'm almost out of time here, but I have this question for you. So
Yeah.
you said that this is the government's fault, but the government's the one putting the restrictions on there, right? And now you're demanding government. And so do you advocate for more travel restrictions coming from the future Biden administration at this point?
No, I'm advocating for immediate and substantial stimulus, a second CARES Act for workers. The travel infrastructure is not going to be worked out in a week or a month. That's going to take time to get these industries all working together in a safe way. But we can act on stimulus today if Mitch McConnell
So
chose
you're
to.
against a national lockdown again?
I am.
Okay, great.
And if
Well,
I could just have,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, quickly.
Last word.
This is where I fundamentally disagree with Max, is that it's not the government's job. It's a team effort. I believe it's up to the individual to do what we can to solve this virus. And while all these people are fighting for stimulus or debating it, I could be on the street with my own money if I'm employed, providing that person-to-person stimulus or volunteering or doing that through my travel, and do that as safely as I can be done. So,
Well, thank you both for this very spirited conversation. We appreciate your time.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. For the record, I'll be spending Christmas with my family. I hope you will be too, safely. You can follow us at Bold TV on all your social media channels. And as always, have a very pleasant week.